In this video, I want to talk a little bit about color in production. I happen to be in Adobe Illustrator and I have a logo that has been developed. It's actually a combination mark, being text and graphic symbol. It's in black right now, and what I want to do is I want to define it in two colors. The choices that I have are Cmyk color, RGB color. If I'm working in print, I would be working with Cmyk. If I'm working on the web and I'm working with media, that would be RGB. So one of the most important things for any designer is to understand that this is actually part of their workflow to establish color for them to use, and it would be Cmyk if they're going to be going to print, or it would be RGB if they are going towards the web. I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can start dealing with color right from the very beginning. The first thing is that you create your color when you open up your document. Now I'm going to move up to the top of the panel and I'm going to show you that this document currently is in Cmyk. It shows you that right there. I can change this right now if I want, or I can create the document in the color mode that I want. I also want to point out that over here in the Swatches panel, I have all these default colors. This is something that you should know about. You get these default colors every time you open up a document. Generally what I do with those colors, I throw them away and I create my own color to suit my project. I'm going to show you a little bit about that in a minute. But I want to go back up to where it says File, and I'm going to show you that when I create a new file, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to bring this over here and show you that I have a profile, and the profile can be changed either to print, web, devices, video, film, basic RGB, or flash builder. The ones that I generally use are print in the web. So right now, the one that I have up on my desktop is a Cmyk document. I just showed you that. I'm going to create a new document just to show you the difference. I'm going to click on the web, and I'm going to leave everything basically the same here because it has nothing to do with this other than a demonstration. And I click OK. And now I have a new document up here, and all I really want to show you is two things. Number one, this document is in RGB. This document, which was created in Cmyk. That is really all I'm trying to show you here, is that you have the ability to go in at any time, or you can create your document in a particular color mode. I'm going to first show you, before I close this document, how I can change this from RGB into Cmyk. If I go to the File menu and I come down to Document Color Mode, I have a choice of RGB or Cmyk right here. So now that I've created this document, I can come in and I can say, okay, I don't want this to be RGB, I want it to be Cmyk. So I come over and I click on Cmyk, and now I come up and look here, and in fact it is in Cmyk. It's really not that difficult to do this. When you are working on a project, you have to have some sense of where it's going to go. You may find that the project you're working on will go in both the web and it will go in print. There's a way of dealing with that. You simply create two documents, one in Cmyk and one in RGB. Very simple to do. Alright, so the only other thing I want to point out here is in the Swatches panel, I want you to notice that if I click back and forth, you can see these are the same colors. What you get is a bunch of default colors, and that happens with every document that you open up. I generally do not use these colors for anything. So I'm done with this document. I'm going to close it and we're going to go back to, I'm going to save the changes. No, go back to my logo. So what I'm going to do here very quickly is I'm going to demonstrate how to create a couple of different versions of this logo. This logo is going to end up being a two-color logo. I'm the designer. I've been given the task of designing this logo and also to design the color scheme for this. That's all part of the picture. I'm going to show you how I would approach doing this. The first thing that I would do is to go over and address the swatches. As I told you before, you get all these swatches in here which are absolutely meaningless to me. I don't really want any of them. What I generally do at this point is I click here and I come down and I select all the unused swatches by clicking Select All Unused. Notice how they highlight. Then I come down and I click the garbage can Do I want to delete them? Yes, I do. And I click delete. And now they're all gone. I do get this little grayscale thing left over, but you could leave it or you could get rid of it. I'll just delete it. Delete it. What am I left with? I'm left with the none button, the registration, white, and I'm left with black. These four are essentially good. You should keep them there at all times. I'm probably not going to use them in this project because I'm going to pick two colors for this logo, but it's a good thing to have them there. There are three things that I'm going to do with this logo. One is a spot color logo, and the difference between spot color and process color is that process colors are made up of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, and they are separated into those four component plates and printed plate by plate, one on top of the other to create the image. Pantone color or spot color is where the color is a solid color, and you may have one color, two colors, or three colors, and each one of those colors will be printed on its own plate with that custom color. Those are your two basic options for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would approach this as a designer. The first thing I would do, and again, this logo is terrible, but it will work. I'm going to go to the File menu, and I'm going to choose Save As, and I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to place a folder there that I'm going to call Logos, and I'm going to open that up. I'm going to change the name of this to Pantone Logo, and I'm going to hit Save. I'm just going to leave all this default for now because this is an exercise and I just want to give you the general idea how I'm going to do it. So I'll just hit OK with this. Now I have this showing as Pantone Logo. While I'm at this, I might as well do the process. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click File, Save As, and this time I'm going to change it to Process Logo. And notice that in my folder I have PantoneLogo.ai. I'm going to hit Save. I get the same window. I'm going to click OK, just as for an example. Just quickly to show you, I drop this down. I come over to my logos right here. There they are. There are my two files. Let me bring Illustrator back. I'm going to close this and I'm going to File, Open. I'm going to open Pantone first. The Aqua and the excursions are going to be one color. This graphic symbol is going to be a second color. And notice that I don't have any swatches in here. So what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to find myself the swatch book that I want to use for this particular project. To find the swatch book, which in fact is a Pantone swatch book, I'm going to come up to the window menu and I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to come down to where it says Swatch Libraries. If you see here, I got a bunch of swatch libraries. And if I'm careful, I slide over to here. I'm going to come up here to color books. I get a whole bunch of different color books in here. ANPA, DIC, Folklatone, and all these other books that are different books of different colors. I intend to be creating a logo that I would like to use in Pantone color, also in Cmyk. I'm going to be working on coded stock. So there is a book for that, and I'm going to drag down to show you it. It's the Pantone plus Cmyk coded. So what this is saying essentially is that the colors in this book are good in Pantone. They are also good in Cmyk, and they will print properly when on coded stock. So that's what I'm going to choose. They also have a version for uncoded stock, and they got other Pantone books in here. The one that I'm most concerned about, though, at this point is the Cmyk coded. I'm going to let go on that, and there's my Pantone Cmyk coded book. What this book is made up of are a ton of different colors. Now look at right here. We have cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. There's your process cyan, magenta, the yellow, and the black. And then the rest of these are individual colors. And there are tons of these colors in here. I'm working on a logo that's called Aqua Excursions. I think what I'm looking for here would be two nice blue colors. So I'll just keep rolling down through here. I don't have a particular color in mind. I'm just going to show you that it's very easy to pick some colors in this particular method. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for something that might be light for the Aqua and the Excursion, something dark for this symbol right here. Looking at the colors here, and there's a lot of really nice blues in here, by the way. I don't know what one I'm going to choose. I think maybe I'll pick on this particular color. And notice that right away, when I click that color, it automatically pops that color into my swatch library. And I want you to take a look at what happens to the color panel. It gives me that color. And it also gives me a slider, which gives me the ability to tint this down if I want to right now, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to leave this in full value color. So now what I want to do is I want to find something that will go nicely with that color, but I want something quite a bit lighter for the other. I think probably somewhere in this range of colors right in here. And this one kind of looks like it might be okay. It's kind of what I had in mind. So I click on that, and now I have that. The thing that you have to understand here is it's going to show you now that this is Pantone P104-4C. And then this one here is Pantone 103-8C. So there's my two colors. I'm just going to minimize this book for a minute. Right now I'm looking over here and I see that I have my stroke selected, and I don't want my stroke to have anything on it, so I'm going to click none, and then I'm going to bring this fill forward. Now that I got my colors in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my colors. I'm going to click on my aqua. I'm going to hold the shift key down and click on my excursions, and with the fill forward right now it's showing black. I come in here and I click on my Pantone color, and there is my blue applied to my aqua excursions. And then I click on this, I click on the dark blue, and now I have my logo colored, and I'm coloring them with Pantone colors. Both of these colors are the correct colors if this were a two-color job. So if this were going to go to a printer and I was going to save this file as an EPS file that I'm going to put into InDesign and send it for, say, a letterhead or an envelope or something like that, business card, and it's a two-color or three-color job, this logo would be correct because it's actually using the correct color. So now I want to show you. I have everything deselected. I'm going to double-click on this color, and notice that right here, the color type is process and the color mode is CMYK. So here's what I want to do right now. I want to click this and bring it down and make it a spot color. I'm going to go to this, and it's going to, I leave that alone, just spot color, and hit OK. Notice what happens right here. I get that little spot there. That's indicating that this is no longer a process color. This is a spot color. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to change it from process to spot, and I'm going to hit OK. So now I have two spot colors. You really need to be aware of your color, and you should also be aware of your panels and what your panels are telling you. Your panel up here is telling you, your color panel is telling you the color, and this down here is showing you not only that it's a color, but it is also a spot color. Here's what I want to do now. I want to change this. This is the Pantone version. To make this easy, I'm going to actually overwrite the CMYK or process file. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to change this from Pantone. I'm going to change it to Process, and I'm going to hit Save. It'll ask me to replace the file or replace it. I'm just trying to make this a simpler operation, and I'll accept this the way it is. So now I have this one, which is my process color, and we started out with process color on this. So I could have saved it right then, but I wanted to give you one more look at how we do this. So the bottom line for this is that we have our colors here. These are currently spot colors. Once again, all I'm going to do is double click on this and come in here, and the color type is going to change from spot to process, and I'm going to hit OK, and there you go. We have our process color, and how you can tell it is no longer Pantone in this swatch library is here you see the spot color, which has the little spot in the corner, and here you see the process color that has the little corner chipped, but there's no spot in it. Now when you sit on top of it, it's going to tell you Pantone P104-4C, but the important thing for you to understand is that I'm using Pantone plus CMYK color. There we have that. Now I'm going to click on this one again, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change that to process color and hit OK. And I'm going to go File, Save. And now what I have basically here is I have my process. I'll close this down for a second. I have my Pantone and my process, and if I double click on the Pantone, it will open up in Illustrator. There's my Pantone, and there are my spot colors. Pantone colors are spot colors. That's a very important thing for you to understand. So I could call this spot logo if you want, but I just call it Pantone because I think that's more correct. But the important thing is that when you double click on either one of these colors, it should be a spot color. That's the important thing, which it is. So I'm going to cancel that, and then I'm going to open the other one, which is the process. And at that, when I open this up, this now becomes, it still says Pantone, but when I double click on it, instead of saying spot, it says process. And I'm going to hit cancel. The little spots are not there. There are your two versions, your Pantone and your process. The last one that I'm going to do File, Save as Copy, and I'm going to call this Web Logo, and I'm going to get rid of the word copy. I don't really need the word copy there. I'm going to save. Okay, and I guess I'll close these guys. I don't know. Save this, yes, and save that, yes, and file open. Where's my web? There we go. Web logo open. Okay, so right now my colors are in CMYK and I want them to be RGB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click File, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to do Document Color Mode, and I'm going to change it from CMYK to RGB. So I click on RGB, and now the document no longer is reading CMYK. So this version will be in RGB. So what I want to do now is I want to come in here and I want to see if I can do something to change these colors, to make these colors better suited for the web. I'm going to double click on this guy. I'm going to change this. I'll leave it from, yeah, RGB. Okay, so you see, it actually already is showing me RGB. When I changed it up here, see how this color mode changed in here? Here's the problem though. This is something that you need to be aware of, and this will occur. When you have RGB and CMYK, the color modes are different. They're quite different. And in this particular case, this gives me a color shift. I'm going to click on this. It says in web color, click to correct. So in other words, this color blue does not match up to the CMYK color. So in order for me to make it suitable for the web, I have to see what it looks like and how it deviates, how it changes. So I'm going to click on that, and it did change a little bit, but it's not too bad. So I can accept that. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this color. I'm going to double click on it, and this too, I get this in web color, click to correct. Meaning essentially that that blue isn't exactly the same blue that's available on the web. So I double click on that to change it. Now notice that it's telling me that that color is out of gambit, but that's okay because in this particular case it's going to be used only on the web. What I'm doing essentially, I hit OK. I've essentially now corrected these colors as best I can to use them on the web. I'm going to now close it. I'll go File, Save, and I'll drop this down. And here we have Pantone Logo AI, Process Logo AI, and Web Logo AI. There are your three different ways to create that same logo in the same color for the three different types of production that you're going to be needing. Try it. I think you'll find it's not too difficult, and it's an absolutely important part of your whole process.